Namaste, my beautiful budget bitches. It's Navinad, Budget Pub Stomper. Do you remember me? Did you miss me? I missed you. I did miss you. Guys, I've been a month off now. I've been on a hiatus, but I'm back. And I mean, I really am back. I'm back on the Discord, back into watching games. I'm going to be playing games. It's really wild to go back to the old Stomping Grounds. Apparently, I must have left the Stomping Grounds Discord, link in the description, in good, capable hands, because there's games firing now probably more than there ever have been in its entire history. It's like a random whatever today is. Sorry, I've been through it, guys. I don't even know what today is. I've been through a very terrible breakup, an awful breakup of a 12-year relationship. But yeah, I've been through it. Been on hiatus. I'm back. Much to my surprise, man, I'm so glad that I left it in the hands that I did leave it in. Shout out Nero, Viz, all of you fuckers did it. Who else is in the, whatever, all of you. Love y'all, Bablo, just all of you. The guys in the Discord are fucking fantastic. It couldn't be they're so good, guys. Come to the Discord just to check out my badass, amazing homies. But yeah, if you want to get pickup games, there have never been more pickup games going on. I think it must just be every day. That's what it looks like. But when I left the budget pub stomper meta, it was all turbo all the time. Turn 4 was a privilege, not a right. And even sometimes turn 3 wasn't guaranteed depending on turn order. I lost a game on turn 1, in fact, in the $100 meta. But it has big shifted. And so I've been thinking, how can we go over the top of what is mostly like control-ish type decks? There's a lot of like Simic value piles. And I think that the semi-blue, as much as I'm not like a big proponent of semi-blue, the semi-blue does make sense if it's all mid-range hell. That's what I always said about it in the context of budget, was that I didn't believe in semi-blue as a concept for budget because it was a response to a specific meta that we had in CEDH that did not exist in budget competitive. But it does now, and so semi-blue actually makes sense. If you're not familiar, if you don't know, you don't know. We'll talk about it, but not now. Now we're talking about Brago. But I'm not supposed to be talking about Brago. I got talked into talking about Sonar Unfinished Genius. So this is the deck I was going to do today, because none of my homies on there believed in my Brago deck. But they thought, like, so the idea is everybody's playing value decks. If everybody's playing removal, everybody's playing control, everybody's playing card draw, value, tons and tons of mana. So they're worried that Brago is just going to get removed, and I respect that and I understand that. Whereas a guy like Sonar, which maybe we'll cover next, tell me if you're interested in this. Let me give you a real quick little, could I do 2 deck techs in one? Man, I can't even get through 1 deck tech in 30 minutes. But like some of the cool shit about this is, Sonar is not going to be a kill on sight commander. The players that I play against in the Stomping Grounds Discord are not just going to fire removal at anything. They covet the removal, they hold on to it until they absolutely need to, and that's how you should play. Their threat, I'm going my own way on this. This is what I believe in my heart. I believe Brago, King Eternal. I looked at the deck, I looked at the meta, I looked at this deck before I'd even tweaked on it, and I thought, no, this is like perfect for the meta. We have tons of board wipes, because the meta is very creature-based. There's mana dorks and Thrasioses all over the fucking place. Gretchens, so on. So I think if we can just continually wipe the board and lay down stacks pieces that are exactly bad against their stuff, like hurtful against their shit, then we don't have to rush Brago out and expose it to removal. We can play the long game. We can use the inevitability factor of Brago. Yeah, so that's what I think I'm going to bring to you guys today. We're going to bring Brago. So let's read the card. Brago, King Eternal. It is a 2/4 flyer. Whenever Brago, King Eternal deals combat damage to a player, exile any number of target non-land permanents you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. It allows you to flicker your entire board. Anything you want to flicker or blink, you can blink, right? And there's ways to break that. There's lots of ways to break that. But I want to talk first about the stacks pieces and I guess the ways to not lose to value piles, like Simic value piles. So we are jam-packed full of interaction, but it's not just like counter target. It's not a bunch of negates. I've got Arcane Denial. I've got Delay. We've got ways to stop creatures. Mana Leak. what's the spell? What is it? Spell Snare, Strict Serenade. And then we've got like the Path to Exile, the Swords to Plowshares. Like we are able to deal with creatures, but even in a mass way. Nobody, like no commander breaks out of time the way Brago breaks out of time, right? Like this can just never go away. Or touch the spirit. So we've got a Grasp of Fate. I can drop this, exile 3 things, dangerous things. Mr. Kimura is very good against Simic value piles. It's expensive, but Brago breaks it in fucking half, man. But besides that, I'm playing things like, and this is all natural, I didn't add this for the meta, that's what brought it to my attention. Narset Parter of Veil says, fuck all your card draw. You're not doing that today. Because all these decks are like drawing bundles and bundles of cards, but not if I slap a Narset, which has really good synergy with Brago because I can continually reset Narset Parter of Veils, right? Yes, I understand that they're going to try to fight me over my board wipes, but you can't fight over Supreme Verdict, not really. So Supreme Verdict is going to get through. A Cursed Totem. Like, Thrasios decks cannot fuck with a Cursed Totem. All these green creature decks can't fuck with Cursed Totem. And I've got tons of tutors for it. I've got plenty of tutors. I can find this. And I don't know if you've ever played Thrasios with a Cursed Totem in play. It ain't very much fun, guys. So yeah, I've got all these hate pieces that weren't even put in the deck to hate out these specific decks or this specific meta. So I think it's going to be just fine, right? But we've got the Arcane Signet. We've got all the Mana Rocks. Basalt Monolith is absolutely a requisite for this deck. We can untap the Basalt Monolith by flickering it with our commander, and it gives us a mana rock that we can win the game with if we just have one mana rock. So let's talk about the combo. We have 2 main combo pieces. I benched Strionic Resonator because it's 4 mana. I just think that's too much. So we've got Peter Parker's Camera now, so I just did a 1-for-1 swap. Peter Parker's Camera is better in this deck than Strionic Resonator, because it's only 1 mana. The fact that it only has 3 uses doesn't matter because we only need to use it once a lot of the time, and we can flicker it with Brago, so it won't matter that it can only be used once. Strionic Resonator is probably the just go-to. This is the main combo piece that people are familiar with Brago. The way this works is if you have a mana rock that makes 3 mana, or if you have 3 mana worth of, doesn't have to be mana rocks, permanents that are not lands that make mana. For instance, we could have Soul Ring and Felwar Stone, or we could have Gold Pan and Soul Ring. We could have just Peregrine. I can never pronounce the card, but we can have P. Diddy. Remember P. Diddy from back in the day? I was calling P. Never mind. Probably still too soon for that. It was way too soon for it when I brought it up. You brought it up. I didn't bring it up. We can reset our Phyrexian Metamorph, so Brago does things. But to make infinite mana with Brago, all we need is Strionic Resonator or Peter Parker's Camera, and something like a Peregrine Drake, or a Cloud of Fairies and a Mana Rock, or a couple of Mana Rocks, or just Basalt Monolith. Okay, so let's just say Basalt Monolith and Aether Channeler. Okay, so we attack, and we've got our Strionic Resonator. So we attack with our Brago, and we have a Flicker trigger. We tap the Basalt Monolith. We are going to flicker the Aether Channeler, and at first we're just going to use it to draw a card. That's going to be the thing we do with our first Aether Channeler flicker. So this guy's going to draw a card. Our Basalt Monolith, we're going to tap for 3 mana. It only takes 2 mana to activate Strionic Resonator. And I think Peter Parker's Camera. Yeah, it only takes 2 mana to activate Peter Parker's Camera also. So the Strionic Resonator is going to be activated by paying 2 mana with the Basalt Monolith. Note that it's going to leave 1 mana floating. And it's going to activate the Strionic Resonator, putting a copy of Brago's ability on the stack. And so Brago's ability going on the stack, and then another one on top of it, means that we're going to be able to draw our card from the whatever creature, from the Aether Channeler. This will draw us a card. We're going to be able to tap the Basalt Monolith for 3 mana. So we'll have an extra 1 floating and have enough mana to activate the Strionic Resonator. When we activate the Strionic Resonator, copying Brago's ability, we'll still have that 1 mana floating, and then the trigger will happen again. When the trigger happens again, it's going to flicker the Basalt Monolith, the Strionic Resonator, and our guy that's drawing us a card. So we'll draw a card, and we'll make the mana. And so we're just going to keep doing that over and over. And we'll always have this last Strionic Resonator trigger on the stack, but we're going to keep putting new ones on the stack on top of it. And then we'll let one resolve, and then we'll tap the Strionic Resonator and do it again and again and again. And with any combination of things, it can be Soul Ring plus Gold Pan is going to give us the mana to, if we just have Soul Ring and Gold Pan with the Strionic Resonator or the camera, then we can make infinite mana and infinite treasures. The infinite mana, I guess, will go into paying for the Strionic Resonator's ability, but we'll make infinite treasures. And infinite treasures is a lot of times going to be better than infinite mana, because the infinite mana that you make is going to go away after you change phases, and this happens during the combat step. But as long as you have a way to draw cards, so it can be, the mana thing can be anything that makes 3 mana is going to get you infinite mana. Any combination of things that makes 3 mana that is not a land. So it can just be a Soul Ring and a Gold Pan. It can be a Soul Ring and a Cloud of Fairies. It can be a Cloud of Fairies plus any mana rock. It can just be a Peregrine Drake by itself. So if we have Peregrine Drake and Aether Channeler with our Brago in play, our Strionic Resonator or Peter Parker's Camera will make us infinite mana and infinite card draw. But because we're flickering the Drake, which is going to cause our lands to come back into play, and when they come into play, they come into play untapped. We can tap them, do it again, tap them, do it again, tap them, do it again, making infinite mana as long as we have to have just 3 lands in play. And we've cast this Drake, so we probably do. So as long as we have at least 3 lands in play and a Drake and an Aether Channeler with our Strionic Resonator, we've won the game. How? Because remember, if we pass out of our combat phase, we lose all of our floating mana. However, if we're drawing our entire deck, we will eventually draw into a haste enabler, or a flash enabler. We're drawing our entire deck, so we're going to draw Born Upon a Wind. When we have infinite mana, infinite card draw, we cast our Born Upon the Wind with our infinite mana, and it says you can cast spells this turn as if they had flash. So that means we're going to be able to cast all the cards in our deck. We can play all of the mana rocks out, so we have all the colored mana that we need, and then we can just start like looping extra turns, or we can find our, I guess the cleanest win condition is Codex Shredder. This is not a dead card. We can use this. It says tap, target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard, which is how we're going to mill everybody out, because when we flicker it over and over, it comes back into play untapped. We tap it and we mill a person. We tap it, we mill a person. We tap it, we mill a person. So it's infinite mill in the context of our combo. But we can pay 5 mana, sack it, and we can return target card from our graveyard to our hand. Well, we have key pieces, so that's a kind of a useful thing to have. Like, we are literally playing, just for value, we are literally playing Savine's Reclamation, and it's kind of like a Savine's Rec effect, but also a win condition once we go infinite. So if you're not clear on that, we have, let's just say in this example, all we have is Basalt Monolith, Strionic Resonator, Codex Shredder. That's all we need. We go to combat with Brago, we tap the Basalt Monolith, we activate the Strionic Resonator, copying Brago's ability, we tap the Codex Shredder, just milling one player, one card, and then we allow that to resolve. We have our 1 mana floating. We've got 2 more to reactivate Strionic Resonator. All of our things come into play untapped. So now we have an untapped Codex Shredder, an untapped Basalt Monolith, and an untapped Strionic Resonator, and 1 floating mana, and we've milled a card. So we're actually going to net mana during this whole thing. It doesn't really matter. We only, really, it could just be Soul Ring, Codex Shredder, Strionic Resonator, win the game. That's all you need. 2 mana's worth of, not lands, two mana's worth of anything. A Cloud of Fairies, Strionic Resonator, Codex Shredder, you will mill your opponents out. So as long as we have any 2 mana rocks, a Cloud of Fairies, as long as we can make 2 mana without tapping lands, we can go infinite with Strionic Resonator and win the game with Codex Shredder. If we need to do something like draw our deck and make infinite mana, we need to be able to produce 3 mana. But that's not difficult. Like I said, just Basalt Monolith or just Peregrine Drake or any combination of all these different things will do that. No problem. Very easy. So in the early stages of the game, all we need to do is survive. We need to counter the key pieces. We need to kill the key creatures. We need to make sure that they can't run away with it. We're just doing damage control until we come to one of our board wipes. Then we're going to wipe the board. Then once we've wiped the board, we're going to turn the corner. Turning the corner is going to look like this. It's going to look like putting your combo pieces into play. Maybe you start with Brago. You can have some protection in your hand. We have ways to protect our pieces. Look, all of our shit blinks for value. So we play Ephemerate. Ephemerate will blank a removal spell on Brago for 1 white mana. Plus we play a bunch of the 1 mana counter spells in blue. Miscast, Offer. I think we've already kind of talked on that. Plus we've got Boots. So we can equip Lightning Greaves to our guy. Now we don't have to worry about it at all. So yeah, I think we're going to value. We're going to, I think, be able to keep up with everything the Simic decks are doing by keeping them down and proving once again that speed is relative. Mystic Remora, if you haven't figured out why it's worth $10 in this deck, it's probably, I think it might be, even in CDH, the best card draw spell in the game. Maybe it's second to Rhystic Study, but that's not obvious to me. I think they're fucking close. But Mystic Remora is very good, especially when all of your opponents are playing mid-range value stuff where they're casting a bunch of shit every turn. And when they go off, they have to cast a bunch of things. But with Mystic Remora and Brago specifically, Brago allows you to reset your Mystic Remora so you can keep it around forever. Normally it has an accumulating, what do they call it? Cumulative upkeep of 1, which is fine. It still is very, very good. But if you flicker it, it resets the cumulative upkeep, and you just can keep this around forever for 1 mana if you get Brago in play. So there's lots of ways to get lots of value. Candlekeep Sage says, commander creatures you own have, when this enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, draw a card. So that draws 2 cards. So you're going to flicker your Brago, right? With Candlekeep Sage in play, that's 2 draws. There's lots of things like that. I think the best one is, where is my homie? Plagon. So we've got a lot of creatures in the deck. It says, when Plagon, Lord of the Beach, enters, draw a card for each creature you control with toughness greater than its power. We have kind of a lot of them. Not a ton, but a lot. We've got this guy, Archaeomancer. We've got Peregrine Drake. Depending on what you clone, could be Phyrexian Metamorph. Plagon itself, Brago itself. So even if you just have Plagon and Brago, when Plagon ETBs, it's going to draw 2 cards. And then every time you flicker it, even with just those 2, it's going to draw 2 cards. But again, if you have Strionic Resonator, or let's talk about the combo one more time, with Peter Parker's Camera. For 1 mana, you get this Peter Parker's Camera that has the same ability as Strionic Resonator, but you can only use it 3 times, unless you flicker it, right? And we've got ways to flicker it. That's the idea. So just like the Strionic Resonator thing, but in this instance, let's say we've got Candlekeep Sage in play, and we have Candlekeep Sage, Gold Pan, Soul Ring. Okay, so Soul Ring will tap 2 for 2 mana, which is enough to activate Peter Parker's Camera. Gold Pan, when it flickers, it creates a treasure token. So if we do it that way, we will make infinite mana with Peter Parker's Camera copying the triggered ability of Brago, which will flicker the Gold Pan over and over and flicker the Soul Ring over and over. Soul Ring will produce enough mana to activate the Peter Parker's Camera over and over, which will flicker over and over so it doesn't run out of film counters. Capiche? Then you can actually pass into your next phase because the Gold Pan builds up treasures. So now you have infinite actual treasures, so you don't have to get to Born Upon a Wind to have infinite mana. You can win with infinite mana post-combat. So that's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. A lot of these guys like Welcoming Vampire are just good in the deck, but once you're going through this loop, if you flicker anything, you can reset the Welcoming Vampire so the draw 1 card every turn clause is null and void. And then as long as you, so you just draw your deck with Welcoming Vampire. You draw your deck with Welcoming Vampire. You can draw your deck basically with Watchers for Tomorrow. You can draw your deck with Plagon. You can draw your deck with Aether Channeler when you're in this loop. You can also mill everybody out when you're in the loop with Codex Shredder, which you can also use to find your key pieces if they get blown up. That's pretty much what we're trying to do, is draw the deck and make infinite mana. And if you draw the deck with infinite mana, you win. But there is another win condition. This is not in every Brago deck, but it's in my Brago deck. So Invasion of, however you say that, says when it ETBs, search your library, graveyard, and or outside the game for an instant or sorcery card you own, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. So when we cast this card, a lot of times what we're going to find is an extra turn spell. So if we find an extra turn spell, it's got to be one that doesn't exile itself. That's key. Those tend to be a little bit more expensive in dollars, but worth it. We need them in this deck. So Temporal Manipulation, for instance, we can find with this guy here, with Invasion of Arcade, however you say that. So if we have enough mana built up, and we're planning on going late, we can turn the corner with a board wipe and then start going off. Brago will flicker the Invasion, and whether we haven't found our extra turn spell yet, or we've already used it and it's in the graveyard, it's going to put it back in our hand, so we can just take infinite turns. We'll just cast the same extra turn spell over and over just by flickering the Invasion of our Arcavios. Right? Makes sense? So we've got a bunch of ways to draw our deck with our Brago combo, and make infinite mana with the Brago combo. And then we've got some kind of secondary combos like going infinite turns with Invasion of our... And this is also just a good piece in the deck. Even if you're not ready to win the game, you can flicker this every single turn with your Brago and just keep digging for whatever you need, either in your library or in the graveyard. Our Chaomancer will also work to loop infinite turns, again, as long as it's a turn spell that does not exile itself, and a lot of them do, so you have to be careful to get the right ones. But the one we used, like Walk the Aeons, Temporal Manipulation, there are some. So we're using some of the ones that don't exile themselves. You don't need a ton. This is going to find it when you're ready for it, but having a couple is probably the sweet spot. If you have one in the graveyard, then you can flicker your Archaeomancer. And you can just use this for value throughout the play of the game. And it's a 1/2, which helps with your Plagon. Plagon can be a big piece. You can be in the mid-game, drop a Plagon, and just draw 5 cards right there off of your 3-mana Plagon, which is pretty big. If you use Skyclave Apparition to exile things over and over, even if it's just every turn with Brago, they don't get their thing back with Skyclave Apparition. They do not get their thing back. They just get a XX nothing creature. So if you exile their Kinnan and this guy flickers, the Skyclave flickers, you can exile another thing, but the Kinnan doesn't come back. They don't get their Kinnan. They just get a 2/2 whatever nothing creature. Then we've got things like Tribute Mage that we can use to repeatedly get our 2-mana things, and that can be like our Boots to protect our commander. It can be our Strionic Resonator to win the game. It can be the mana rock we need to produce colored mana to win the game. With our Born Upon the Wind, Trinket Mage can find our Soul Ring, and Trinket Mage can find our Peter Parker's camera, and it can find them both. You can flicker it, find one, flicker it, find the other. It also will find our win condition, so that will really assemble the entire win on its own over a few turns, but it will do. Then we've got all the counter spells and control type magic things you could possibly long for. Prophetic Prism, it can help you to fix your mana, but basically when it ETBs, it draws a card. So every time you flicker this 2-mana thing, 2 mana is important. We've got lots of ways to find 2-mana things, especially artifacts. We can draw a card. So there's lots of ways to end up in a situation where you are drawing a card every time you activate your Brago. And with Strionic Resonator or Peter Parker's camera, and at least 2 mana, ideally 3, you can infinitely activate and reactivate every card that you have in play. All of your things that, if they were to come back into play, I was going to say all your things with an ETB, but Codex Shredder too. This will just murk everybody. So yeah, the main win lines are, simply put, we're going to get our Strionic Resonator or Peter Parker's camera. Most of the time, if you find this piece, you'll be ready to win the game. By the time you find this piece, you'll have it. Because it doesn't take any specific setup. It just takes 3 mana's worth of things. That's what it takes. And any card that allows you to either win with infinite mana or draw your deck. In which case you can cast your Born Upon the Wind and win with infinite mana. One way to do it, there's tons of ways, but if you're not sold yet, here's another way. You've got your Aether Channeler, you've got your Basalt Monolith, you've got your Strionic Resonator. You attack with Brago, you draw a card with the Aether Channeler, you activate your Strionic Resonator with the 3 mana from the Basalt Monolith. That leaves 1 colorless mana floating. So, you're drawing your deck. You just keep doing that over and over. You're drawing your deck with Aether Channeler. And you're making infinite colorless mana. You will be able to make, as long as you have 1 blue mana, you'll be able to eventually find your Born Upon a Wind and cast it. And at some point, you can flip from drawing cards with Aether Channeler to making birds. So you're going to make an infinite army of white 1/1 flying bird creature tokens. And then you're going to pass the turn. No, I'm just kidding. We're not passing the turn in that situation. We are going to cast an extra turn spell. We have infinite colorless mana. We cast our Born Upon the Wind. So we can just flash in mana rocks. We don't need many. We need, for Temporal Manipulation, 2... Not even mana rocks. 2 ways to produce blue mana, plus our infinite colorless that we're creating, will allow us to take an extra turn with an infinite army of birds. And a full grip of however many counter spells we could care to sculpt into. So we have Scour for Scrap. We've got Whir of Invention. We've got Muddle the Mixture. We've got a robust tutor suite and tons of ways to draw tons of cards. Reshape. We've got just tons. And if we end up in a situation where we can't tutor for our pieces, we can dig for them. Because with Brago and, say, Plagon, let's just, like, a very, I think, easy to imagine scenario would be a situation where we've just got, like, let's say a Welcoming Vampire, a Plagon, and a Brago. That's a lot of cards, right? So, like, when we flicker the Brago is going to ETB and draw 3 cards. Because we have 1, 2, 3 things that he cares about. Then also, Welcoming Vampire says whenever 1 or more other creatures with 2 power or less ETB draw a card. This ability triggers only once per turn. But that's fine. So in just that little base case where we've got just Plagon and Welcoming Vampire, our Brago will flicker these 2 and itself, or flicker these 2. That's the main thing. And Welcoming Vampire will draw a card, and Plagon will draw 3 cards. So that's 4 cards a turn, not counting our draw step, or whatever other value things we have it going. Plus we've got stacks pieces, and like good stacks pieces. Plus we've got things that function effectively as stacks pieces once we have our commander in play. Out of Time may be king amongst them. When out of time, ETBs, untap all creatures, then phase them out until Out of Time leaves the battlefield. Put a time counter on Out of Time for each creature phased out this way, and it has Vanishing. But once the Vanishing comes off of it, if you want to, you can reset it with Brago, which you can then put Brago in your commands. There's too much to talk about. I'm already at 35 minutes. I've gone too far. We're too late in the game. But we've got tutors. We've got removal. We've got all the things we need. We have board wipes. We have board wipes aplenty. We've got a creature that I would say presents an amount of inevitability. If you're allowed to run amok with Brago, you are going to drown even your Simic playing opponents in value. I know it seems like, how would we do that? Thrasios draws so many cards, but look at the rate. Look at the rate in comparison. 4 mana. I know Simic makes a lot of mana. But look at all the value you get from one Brago activation. It's obscene. It's obscene the amount of value that you get. I wish I would have saved time for gold fishing. Solve the equation. That's another tutor. We'll be able to find our pieces. We'll be able to wipe the board. We'll be able to stacks out our opponents. They can't draw that many cards when we've got a Narset Powder of Veils in play. And they cannot activate Thrasios or their mana dorks with Cursed Totem in play. If we have an out of time, their whole board is wiped. If we have a Touch the Spirit Realm set to its enchantment side that we can continually reuse, we can always find the best thing. If we have Reality Acid, it has Vanishing 3. That doesn't matter. If you've got Brago in play, you can flicker it every turn when you go to combat and just make them sacrifice a piece every single turn. Or if you've got Grasp of Fate, you get the idea. You get the idea. This is a value first deck. Not value for it's chock fucking full of value. But I think that is all the time I have to talk to you about Brago King Eternal. We're gonna win with our loops that we talked about with Strionic Resonator, Peter Parker's Camera, or we're going to flicker our Invasion of Arcavios to continually find the same extra turn spell and use it over and over to take all the rest of the turns and murder everybody with our Flying Commander or whatever creatures we're able to put into play. Or, failing all of that, we still have Archaeomancer, which if we flicker Archaeomancer every turn, we can also get the turn spell out of our graveyard and recast it every turn. That's the deck, guys. I hope you're a true believer. I am. I'm going to bring this into the stomping grounds, and I'm going to stomp some fucking grounds. Let me know what you think about the deck in the description. Like, subscribe, join the Pub Stompers. Join us. We play games every day. Let's go. Let's go. I'm back. I'm back. Let's fucking do it. All right, word to your mothers. East side until the day that I die. And namaste, my precious, precious budget bitches.